So you know that the European nations like Germany and the UK are continuing to bolster and propagandize people in the agenda of NATO and the State Department to continue to bolster the war in Ukraine and saying that we need to do everything that we can and demonize people and, scapegoat and everything and manipulate and brainwash people to believe that this is empathetic, that we, crush our own economies, ignore the cries and woes of their own people to sacrifice themselves to the benefit of Ukraine, even though nobody's benefiting from this war, except for the criminals that are buying into it. And that's where I lead into this lady here. Um, and who exactly is this person? Well, her name is Annalena Baerbock, and she's a German politician of the Alliance 90, the Greens Party, serving as Germany's Minister of Foreign Affairs since 2021. From 2018 to January 2022, Baerbock served as co-leader of the Alliance 90, the Greens, alongside Robert Habeck. She has been the party's candidate for chancellor in the 2021 federal election, making her first such candidate for the Greens, and after Angela Merkel, only the second woman to be selected by a party and its candidate for chancellor by a major German political party. After the election, the Greens formed a traffic light coalition led by Olaf Scholz, and Baerbock was sworn in as Germany's first female foreign minister on December the 8th, 2021. Now, why does that matter? Well, it's about what she's about to say here about having that duty of being the foreign affairs minister in Germany, and what she's about to say about Ukraine in regards to the people of Germany that she was sworn in to help. She was elected by Germans, she was elected by the German public, and this is what she's about to say about them in regards to Ukraine. Take a listen to this.
I give the promise to people in Ukraine. We stand with you as long as you need us. Then I want to deliver, no matter what my German voters think, but I want to deliver to the people of Ukraine. And this is why, for me, it's important to be always very frank and clear. And this means every measure I'm taking, I have to be clear that this holds on as long as Ukraine needs me. We are facing...
So she's making it very frank and clear. She does not care about the German public. She made it very frank and clear. Regardless of what the voters are saying, I am doing whatever it takes to be severely corrupted and go along with the State Department's narrative of endless war. Now, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if she's corrupted by, the war machine. I don't know if she's corrupted by the military-industrial complex. Maybe she's got stock at Raytheon. I don't know what it is, but she's saying this out in the open, that she does not care about the German public or their decisions. She's going to continue on bolstering this charade of a war. And she's making it frank and clear.
Facing now winter time where we will be challenged as democratic politicians. People will go on the street and say, we cannot pay our energy prices. And I will say, yes, I know, so we help you with social measures. But I don't want to say, okay, then we stop the sanctions against Russia. We will stand with Ukraine, and this means the sanction will stay.
I don't know if she realizes this, but the sanctions are in due part of it. The sanctions are in part of why there's high rocket inflation. It's in part of why we're shipping millions and trillions of dollars, printing more money than usual to send off to Ukraine to waste it on a war when it should be invested back into the people and actually helping the economy. There's a reason why they're protesting against the sanctions, because it has to do with inflation, because it has to do with because it has to do with the fact that Russia cut off the natural gas to Germany, which is the biggest supplier of energy to the European nations. All these sanctions are hurting people. They're hurting ordinary, regular people that didn't want this war to happen in the first place. And what you're saying is, oh, well, I understand that, but you're going to have to suffer. You're going to have to suffer because my decision says that we got to continue on the bullshit that we've been doing that started this. So I don't know how corrupted she is. I don't know if she's in part with Lockheed Martin. I don't know if she's getting a paycheck off this, but this is the foreign affairs lady of Germany that came from an alliance of the Green Party and the Democratic Social Party, I think it was called, or whatever. She is the top dog of foreign affairs in Germany. And you say, I don't care about the German people. I just want to do what's benefiting Ukraine. Because that's what I'm being told by the State Department. That's what kind of leadership you have in this world. Where it's hand-selected by top-tier nefarious people. Not democratically elected by people. Not democratically elected by citizens of countries, which is how it should be. It's already hand-picked by a bunch of few individuals. Bankers, international tradespeople, international businessmen. They already have your hands on democracy. They already have their hands all covered in politicians across the nation. They give you the illusion of democracy. They give you the illusion that you're picking and selecting leaders that best represent you. But they already got their hands all covered in democratically elected governments to allow shit like this to happen, to bolster their agenda. Let me play this from the beginning and play it in full.
But if I give the promise to people in Ukraine, we stand with you as long as you need us, then I want to deliver. No matter what my German voters think, but I want to deliver to the people of Ukraine. And this is why, for me, it's important to be always very frank and clear. And this means every measure I'm taking, I have to be clear that this holds on as long as Ukraine needs me. We are facing now a winter time where we will be challenged as democratic politicians. People will go on the street and say, we cannot pay our energy prices. And I will say, yes, I know, so we help you with social measures. But I don't want to say, okay, then we stop the sanctions against Russia. We will stand with Ukraine, and this means the sanction will stay also in wintertime, even if it gets really tough for politicians.
Do you see that, how she completely doesn't understand the concept of it? She's saying, we'll help the people with some social, welfare to help people with their energy bills. But at the meantime, we're still going to sanction the shit out of the guys that are providing us the energy. We're still going to make sure we manufacture the cause of the problem. But then we're also going to give you a bit of crumbs to help you out. This is such... It bolsters my mind that people twist their logic for this kind of crap. And it's sad that people like me, like a 27-year-old YouTuber in his basement on a shoestring budget, on a shoestring budget podcast, has to be the voice of reason. Has to be the voice of rationale and sit down and go, wait a second, something does not add up. Something does not add up. It's funny. It's even more funnier that this is coming from a stream. I don't know if you can see underneath there. It says, Ukraine, a vision for success. Like, they don't already know that it's an unwinnable war. They don't already know that Ukraine is not going to win this war. The only way this war is going to be finished with is how Russia is going to get out of it. That's literally all it's going to take. It's however Russia decides. But the whole point is not a winnable war. The whole point is an excuse to have endless war, to build up empires, to build up this war machine, to continue to scapegoat countries and their finances and resources and transfer them over to the war empire. That's what Julian Assange has been saying since day one. That's what he said about Afghanistan, and the same can be applied to Ukraine. So, this is interesting too. One wonders who she's working for. That's what everybody's asking after that. Like, you literally just shugged a bunch of German people who voted you into office, who allowed you to have this position of power, and you're shugging them away, turning a blind eye and saying, I'm going to side everything on Ukraine. Who is she working for? She was elected by Germans, and she's been paid with their taxes, yet she does nothing for Germans. On the contrary, she's sinking them. And she's also making Ukrainian life more miserable by not seeking a diplomatic resolution of the conflict. Yeah. All the things that she said, there's nothing about solution. There's nothing about ending this war. There's no solution to it. All she's saying is add more sanctions, add more sanctions. That is not going to solve the war. That is not going to solve the war. But no other politician out there is mentioning about diplomacy, mentioning about a resolution, mentioning about the lead up to this conflict, maybe actually sitting down and having a rational discussion about this. No person is doing that, but they keep saying about sanctions. They keep saying about this is best for, demolishing the Russian economy so it benefits Ukraine, so it benefits us. It has not done any of that. Because they're not seeking a diplomatic resolution. Their goal is endless war, using Ukraine as a proxy to continue this manufactured aggression against Russia. And having NATO, the security state, the war apparatus, the military-industrial complex, all coalesce together to bolster their finances and using Ukraine as a pawn in their games. So I really do wonder who exactly she's working for. Because I know who the United States politicians and Canadian politicians are working for. And let it behold, you know exactly why they're saying what they're saying. Russia-Ukraine war helps create a halo effect for defense stock. So, a lot of the politicians in the United States, a lot of people in Congress that are continuing to say, we need to do this for Ukraine, we need to do this for humanity. The same ones that continue to say, we have to occupy Syria, we have to send troops over to here and there and everywhere, we have to go intervene in Latin America, is because of this. Because of defense stock, because the war profiteers are buying out the politicians, and some of the politicians are profiting off this. They probably have investment stocks already into it, so of course they're going to placate to the war agenda. Because they're benefiting, profiteering from dead bodies. From the death and disparity of other nations. Here's Business Insider. 20 members of Congress personally invested in top weapons contractors that will profit from just the past $40 billion Ukraine aid package. Just that package alone. There's already other ones out there. There's already like hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars spent on Ukraine. But just on this aid package alone, 20 members of Congress is going to walk away laughing to the bank. And one wonders if the German foreign affairs lady is one of those people in Germany. Maybe she's profiting off it. Maybe she's got secret insider trading. And that's why she doesn't care about the German people and saying, we got to do everything for Ukraine. But maybe we'll give you a small bit of crumb if we care, if we have the time, because, I'm technically responsible for Germany because I am the German foreign affairs, blah, blah, blah. But I stand full-heartedly with Ukraine. That's why I'm going to continue the sanctions. And not have a diplomatic resolution. Which is what we should be doing. Which is what we should be talking about. But you're never, ever, 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 ever going to hear that from NATO-line politicians. You're never going to hear that from European nations. You're not going to hear that from Western nations because they're all in line with the war empire to continue to bolster this war. Because as Julian Assange points out again, it's not about winning a war, it's about endless war. It's about continuing and manufacture an endless war so that business opportunity, so they can transfer the mass amount of wealth to the war empire, to the war machine to continue on this path. And that's exactly what she's doing. That's exactly what the 20 members of Congress are doing, and that's why they're continuing to do so. Even though everybody knows what a charade this all is. Even though everybody knows that this is a manufactured bullshit attempt and has ruined the lives of every single ordinary person that didn't want the war to exist in the first place and is now suffering through inflation, sanctions, high cost of living, energy shortages, food shortages. They can't pay their bills. They can't pay for the cost of living. Everything is just crumbling underneath them because of this, because of the results of this. And apparently the leaders don't understand, because it doesn't affect them. It doesn't affect them. It affects the working class people. So it's class warfare on modern warfare, I guess, to put in the layman's terms. And people are not taking it lying down. You're seeing what's happening in France. You're seeing what's happening in Prague. They want to be out of NATO. They want to be out of the war manufacturing empire. They want a conflict resolution pass. They want to stop this charade. They want to stop the transfer of wealth to these greedy, bloodthirsty, vampire-like corporations that are doing death and disparity across the world. And they want to personally invest that money back into the people, so that would actually bolster their own economies and actually make these countries actually great again. But you're not going to get from people like her. You're not going to get from people that align themselves with NATO. So, I don't know who she's bought. I don't know how corrupted she is, but you're not gonna hear a resolution from someone like her that's ignoring the people to put more sanctions on Russia.